Michael here, and unfortunately I don't actually have a new episode of Talking Element for you this week because I have gotten married and am on my honeymoon. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to do a short episode that we are calling The Cutting Room Floor, and this is where we are going to put in some bloopers, some outtakes, some behind the scenes stuff that you normally may not care about, as well as some segments that we thought were good, but just didn't have either fit with the episode at hand or for length were cut. So welcome to Element Cutting Room Floor. All right.
All right.
All right. Get it done. 22 of these. I'm done. Do it live. All right. You ready? We're just gonna have a conversation. You talk to us. We will look at the cameras at couple different spots, but other than that, it's a conversation. So okay. Easy peasy. Right. We'll edit it up. Please. We've been recording this whole time.
Yeah, we have been actually. I told him the story, but so Canon camera. So he started interviewing servicemen in like Vietnam or something like that, and they'd have like all these stories, different things they're doing, and they'd get him in the thing and the red light would come on and they'd be like, and so he just started shutting off the red light and just saying, so we're gonna just talk about it ahead of time, then we'll turn the light on, and they'd get done, and he goes, it's great. And then they'd be like, okay, ready? And he's all, no, we're done. We got it.
It's when you just got the other chairs that we had. There were these chairs or whatever.
No, there were.
We had the other
they were
chairs.
even worse than these.
Yeah, we had the other chairs.
Yeah, like they were not even as cushiony as these, and these are not that cushiony.
And so that's when I came, and I've been here that long, and bringing you cookies.
I know. Here's the thing. When she brought cookies, she would also bring another big old package of cookies that she would put in the freezer for me. You know that people have stolen my cookies?
Spoiled.
Yeah.
You know what else though? I text Tammy Teal, who makes the best chocolate chip cookies, to get a recipe so I could make you some, and she didn't respond. She must be really busy or something.
Or she hates me.
She doesn't hate you. No one hates you, Aaron.
Gotta get good and being like, you know what the most helpful thing would be? I think in a couple weeks, I would love to go out and get dinner with you.
Or just new phone who dis.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
What was his name?
Alan Funt.
Alan Funt.
Yeah, that was a story about how, after Canon came out, they did all that stuff, that he was on a flight that was hijacked and taken to Cuba.
And everyone thought it was.
And everybody thought it was a joke because he was on the flight.
Because he was there.
This is Canon camera. And when the flight landed in Cuba and people started getting off, everybody was mad at him. Because it wasn't.
Because he didn't have it filmed.
Yeah. They were all like, you did. And he's like, I didn't say it was. You guys were thinking, this is real. Yeah.
So going back to like the church and the building and planning and moving eventually.
I kind of feel like we're in that right now a little bit.
Well, I think we are. But how do you deal with the tension of, okay, you're not wrestling with God's good, and God's doing something, but then we've got to make something happen too. Like there's a tension of, I'm going to plow ahead, and we could have said we're not moving unless we build something. And so how do you hold the tension of, we need to move forward and do plans, and then have an open hand when that falls apart?
Well, okay, so I'm writing the book of James right now for next year, and one of the things that James says after he says, you run around and you make all these plans, and you should really say, if the Lord wills, I will do this. And really, the whole thing with James' idea behind that is this huge thing that we don't even realize we're doing, and that is we forget God all the time in the things we're doing. We make all these plans and don't think twice about who He is or what He's calling us to or what He wants in our lives. So we forget Him. And part of what James is saying is, you say, if the Lord wills, meaning God is in this, we think about Him in the decisions we make, and if it's not evil, we move forward. Like one of the things he says at the end of all that is he wraps it up and he says, so if you know the good you ought to do, but you don't do it, it's sin. And it's kind of the opposite, because he's not saying, oh, when you do the things you know you're not supposed to do. He goes, but when there are things you know you are supposed to do, and if you don't do those things, then that's sin. And that comes out of when we remember who God is and what he calls us to. There are certain things that God has placed in front of us. We're not saved by those things, but God has prepared things for us to do. And so I think that we look forward into the places he's calling us to, and as long as it's not sin, God has called us to what? To disciple people, to speak about his grace and his goodness, to draw people together as best as we can, to honor God's image in others, to honor our government as far as we can, as long as it doesn't interfere with who God calls us to be. And we do all those things. And there is good that we should be doing even in the midst of these things, so we step out and do that. And if God wants to reset us in the midst of that, he will do that. But we still step out doing the good we know that we ought to do. Does that help?
Yeah. I may not use that this week, but that'll probably go into the cutting room floor episodes.
Okay.
Maybe.
So how was that? Did I get it?
I think so.
I don't know.
You were going somewhere, but
I got distracted by the